The government is hiring influencers as part of a large-scale plan to change Canadians' opinions on increased immigration levels, as opposed to listening to Canadians' opinions and then responding accordingly. The government even wants to hire CBC to help them, and we have the documents to prove it. Canadians want lower immigration levels. The polls consistently show it. Just look at this recent one, begrudgingly reported in the CBC. 63% of respondents to a Leger poll said the government should prioritize limiting immigration levels because the country might be reaching a limit in its ability to integrate them. Just 37% said the priority should be on growing immigration to meet the demands of Canada's expanding economy. Expanding economy? Anyway, Immigration Minister Ahmad Hussein said he's concerned about the trend. Yeah, I bet he is. It's a complete and total rejection of the Liberals' open border policy. And yet, when you try to talk about lowering immigration levels or fixing the exploding problem with fake refugees self-deporting from the United States into Canada by just, strolling across the border in bulk and then applying for asylum here, well, you're demonized by the Liberals and the mainstream media, and I don't think there's a real distinction there. Even though, like I said, every recent poll shows that an attitude to lower immigration is the prevailing mainstream opinion, and not just for us conservatives. So that begs the question, are you curious about how all those pro-immigration stories end up all over the place, despite Canadians' overwhelming desire to lower immigration levels and get the failing asylum system under control again? Ever wonder why every single person who questions our immigration levels is suddenly painted as a racist by the media or the Liberals? Again, there's no distinction. Well, the government has a plan to covertly inject a pro-immigration narrative into every part of your life, from the classroom to the CBC to your local coffee shop. And we have the proof of this large-scale propaganda scheme in writing from the government in the form of access to information documents from Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada. Let's go through them together. This package discusses something called the Immigration Matters Marketing Plan, drafted by the IRCC. On page 5, the government reminds us that Canadians are not appreciating open borders, and so they need to be re-educated. Our strategy is to create a grassroots campaign made up of immigrant success stories that counter misperceptions identified through our public opinion research. On page 6, we see the government is looking to recruit influencers to promote positive immigration stories. Influencers and partners. While some advertising funds are proposed, the strategy will rely on influencers and partners to help disseminate messaging, as our audience is not one who would normally seek out information about immigration or visit the IRCC website. Partners also bring additional credibility. On page 11, they're looking to partner with media and private sector as part of phase 2 of the project. IRCC will explore partnership opportunities with organizations that have a relationship with our audience and drive them to our channels. Page 13, we see that the whole marketing plan is because those pesky Canadians have their own ideas and opinions of Canada's overwhelmed immigration system. Additionally, while Canadians understand the need for immigration, some are skeptical of and dissatisfied with unplanned immigration, asylum seekers at the border, and to some extent, the continued support of Syrian refugees. This undermines receptivity to information on the positive aspects of immigration and the Government of Canada's immigration plan. Page 18 and 19 details IRCC's media partnership strategy. And it's all completely redacted, of course. But we don't need these details to know exactly what this means in practice. Questioning immigration levels? Skeptical of something? Expect someone in the media to write an article calling you a racist. On page 19, we see they also have a plan to launch ads on Tim's TV at Tim Hortons. If the advertising campaign is approved, Two options that seem well suited to this target audience are Cineplex and Tim's TV, featured in Tim Horton's locations. These tactics can cover a wide portion of the target market with relative reach and frequency without overwhelming disruption. Now, I assume Tim Hortons is okay with all of this, unlike, say, Northern Gateway ads promoting a much-needed export pipeline for Alberta's oil and gas that was pulled from Tim's TV because some environmentalists who seem more like the Starbucks types anyways complained about it. Still on page 19, we see the Liberals also plan to target your child's classroom with their propaganda to inform and educate youth and help them foster a personal and emotional connection to immigration. IRCC could create a classroom creative challenge that answers the question of how immigration has had a personal effect on students. Submissions can take the form of a video, poster, story, song, etc. that outlines student learnings, how they feel about immigration, how they are affected by immigration, and how their attitude has changed as a result. On page 22, we see the most shocking thing, not because it's actually shocking, but because it's shocking to see it in writing. We see CBC is specifically listed as one of IRCC's immigration marketing partners. The document points to a series of CBC's pro-immigration explainers that have been masquerading as hard news, but are really part of this pro-immigration marketing program crafted by the government. We can see that the IRCC Communications Department recommends not hosting those CBC stories over on the IRCC website because it's third-party content and thus would give away the fact that this is literally bought and paid for government marketing propaganda as opposed to something real. It's being passed off as real news, but it's fake news. On page 24, we can see IRCC also plans to target journalism schools to get the stories they want to be written, or as they say, to generate and promote stories. And this wouldn't be an immigration story without the meddling overlords from the UN. The UNHCR, who, based on information on page 25, really want to be involved in this marketing campaign. Now, did you need any more proof that the CBC has been passing off liberal government propaganda as actual factual news? This is black and white proof that they are. Now, I've got to tell you something else now that we've gone through this entire document package together. This is not our exclusive. This was part of a proactive disclosure by the federal government, meaning some other person or likely news agency filed for this information and received it some time ago. I wish I could tell you who that was. It could even have been the CBC, and yet this information went unreported. It went undisclosed that the CBC is acting as a sponsored Pravda-esque propaganda arm of the Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Agency of the Canadian government. Just more proof you cannot trust the mainstream media. For Rebel News, I'm Sheila Gunn Reid. At The Rebel, not only do we tell the other side of the story, but we also hold the government to account on behalf of the people, on behalf of you at home. And that's why I'm proud to say that we have published Ezra Levant's latest bestseller. It's called The Libranos, and it tells the story of the corruption of the Liberal Party under Justin Trudeau. To get your copy, go to thelibranos.com. And while you're there, if you're so inclined, do sign up for one of the accompanying lawn signs to help us promote the book. Again, that's at thelibranos.com.